Can anyone in this room tell me what this is?
Nurofen?
Nurofen? Nope. Medicine? Yes. Pills? Nope.
Antibiotics.
Antibiotics indeed. Very good answer, Catherine. This is my antibiotic prescription. I take it twice a day for my skin. Because in the past I've had bacteria that were multiplicating over my lovely skin and leading to acne. Antibiotics. One of mankind's greatest discovery. A weapon of mass destruction against infection. Bacterial infection. What would the world be like without antibiotics? Let us close our eyes a moment and imagine it for a second. Giving birth becomes once again a battle between life and death, as infection can take hold. Tuberculosis is a mass killer, killing people not by the hundreds, but by the tens of thousands every year, including in Britain. A simple paper cut can become very dangerous. The nasty bacteria in the air will swell and go into your blood, go forth and multiply one step at a time. A dose of antibiotics would kill them, but they are not around. Your heart will start pounding faster and faster and faster in a futile battle. Slowly your skin will turn into sepsis, will take hold, and your skin will turn black. Eventually gangrene will take hold, and some of your fingers might just fall off like pieces of paper. Your organ might fail one by one. And on your deathbed, you will be suffering in agony. When the Reaper will come, it will be a liberation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a word without antibiotics. This was our word a century ago. This could very well be our word again in a few decades and in the future. Antibiotics resistance. Darwin's theory of evolution proven and in action. Antibiotics evolving to become stronger and stronger to fight antibiotics. New antibiotics haven't been discovered since the 1980s, and research is pretty much hitting a dead end. Therefore, what can we do? Well, there's a solution to the problem. Dicommons, these guys. Phage. Human can be attacked by viruses. But if human can be attacked and die from viruses, why can't bacteria suffer the same fate? And these phage, these bacteriophage, do just that. There are a fair few of them out there. The dark matter of the living world. 10 to the power 31 different species of them. All around us. There's probably a few thousand in this room alone. They've been known for a while now. Alexander Fleming, the discoverer of antibiotics, actually first played around with them before in the penicillin. And about a century ago, they were used to treat dysentery. And guess where the phage were extracted from? Human feces, fecal matter. It could be effective treatment against dysentery. When the Western world embraced antibiotics after World War II, behind the Iron Curtain, the Soviet Union did things slightly differently, as we know. And they carried on researching phage in Poland, in Georgia, and in Russia, using them in cocktail to fight some diseases. And back then they found that when antibiotics were ineffective, these guys could be quite effective and do the job just fine. And nowadays, research is proceeding apace. So what are they exactly? Well, they're in effect small machines, I would suspect, which are made up of a shell, of a large protein shell with some legs, so that they can land atop a bacteria like an helicopter would land on the field. And in their head, their brain carries DNA. DNA, the blueprints of life. Because that DNA contains all the information they need to replicate themselves and create more and more and more of them. First thing they do is they land on the bacteria, just like an helicopter. And immediately they release enzyme, like lysine, to burrow their way through the shell of the bacteria, one step at a time, like digging a hole. Once the hole is dug, they strike, and they release their DNA inside the bacteria. They hijack it, they take it over, effectively, transforming it into a factory that will just make more and more and more phage of them, replicate, until eventually they burst open and begin the cycle begins anew. This whole process takes only 15 minutes for one bacteria to die, and then whole cycle to start anew. So, why are we not using them at the moment instead of antibiotics? Well, there are some obstacles along the way that prevent mass production. These proteins we just saw that makes up the body of phage are very fragile. They're very, very big molecule, very, very big, but also very fragile. A bit like shards of glass dangling from strings. It would be very difficult to make something like this, and would require very delicate craftsmanship. And this is exactly the same story when it comes to producing these. Chemists and biologists that make these are in effect like craftsmen working in a workshop, creating a very intricate machine or a clock. And that limits mass production. But there is also another obstacle. Bacteria comes into two main types. There's billions of them, but they're divided into two main types. Gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. This is a gram-positive bacteria, and in many ways it's kind of like a flimsy piece of plastic that is easy to pierce and go through. There are only two layers, two membranes, so to speak. And the lysines can burrow their way through these two membranes just fine. Then do their work, hijack it, and begin that circle. But for a gram-negative bacteria, things are a little bit more complicated. Extra layers, extra protection, extra locks that prevents access. So they just can't break through this outer membrane very easily. And a lot of infection, like anthrax are gram-negative bacteria. So what can we do then? Well, a team in Belgium has been trying some new things very recently, and their approach has been quite interesting but simple. Doing the process in two steps. First breaking through the outer layer and then the inner layer. The way they designed the way to break the outer layer is to design a peptide that would break through this outer layer. Once the layer is between, the lysines do their work and release their deadly cargo in the heart of the bacteria. Research is still carrying on, but they've designed a lovely new drug that has a very glamorous name indeed. ART-175. And they found that it is able to kill a lot of gram-negative bacteria very successfully. Now you might all be wondering, but surely if the bacteria evolved to fight antibiotics, can't they evolve to fight these guys as well? Yes, they can. But these guys are viruses. They also evolve at the same time. And experiments have been actually made. In a very interesting experiment done in the United States, some anthrax bacteria were exposed to a mutagen, something that would transform a nasty bug into a superbug, 10,000 times more resistant to antibiotics. And guess what happened when exposed to the phage? The superbug died. There you go. The game is not over yet. But a lot of research is continuing and many obstacles remain. And obviously, using viruses to fight bacteria has some implications as well, has some risk. We've got a lot of very nice and gentle and healthy bacteria in our bodies. There's probably billions of them in my guts right now, swimming around, digesting the food these crisps I've just eaten. And surely, if we kill them, we cannot digest them anymore. The good news is that these lysine phage are so selective that they do not harm these bacteria. So there you go. It is fine. But research is carrying on. And it will be many years, maybe even a few decades, before the dark matter of the biosphere, the phage, replace the antibiotics, and the 21st century, and maybe the third millennium becomes instead the age of the phage.